Homework tonight, 3-6, add using compensation. Taking a look at this. When we explained the concept this morning, basically what we want your child to do is to figure out of the two add-ins when they're looking at adding two numbers together, which one you can get to a 10. Or possibly a 5, but mostly a 10, because adding 10s is much easier than adding 26 and 6. So what this strategy tonight is going to work on with your child is trying to figure out if they're going to add or subtract to get to 10, and then doing the inverse, the opposite, with the other add-in in the equation. So up here you got an example, and this was one way to do it. So for example, 47 and 28, you give 3 to 47 and 2 to 28, which is 5 total. You added 5, you added 3 and 2 to each side, and you subtract 5 later. So you added 3 and 2 and made it 50 and 30. 50 plus 30 is 80, and then you subtract the 5 later because you added 3 and 2 to each side. So that's one strategy to do it. I'll show you both sides. So that strategy can work down here for this, and I'll show you both ways to do this first one just so you have an idea. This is not the way you have to do it. The way I explained it this morning is just to find the closest 10. You could do either way. So for this one, you could make both these to a 10. You could go plus 4, and I'll put the 4 inside. You could do plus 4, make this 30, and plus 4, and make this 10. Well, 30 plus 10 is 40. Well, over here I added 8, so it's 40 minus 8 and go back to 32. So that's one way you could do this. That's the way that was explained up top. Now, down below, the other way you could do it for this number 1 is, well, make 26 the closest to 30, which would be 30. Okay. And then you do the inverse to the other side. So plus 4 is 30, and then over here you subtract 4. So then you don't have that extra step down here of subtracting the 8 afterwards. You've got 26 plus 4 is 30, and 6 minus 4 is 2. And then it's 30 plus 2 is 32. So there's two ways to do this strategy. I'm going to show you both. I won't do it on every one of them, but I wanted to show you how this example relates to what we're doing down here as you go along. To me, this adds an extra step. The extra step is here. So to me today, I'd rather just do the plus 4 minus 4 and do the inverse. It might be easier for your child at home. You might have a conversation with them and say, well, make both of them to a 10 and then subtract it afterwards. You know, I added 5, I got to subtract 5 later. You decide. Maybe I'll mix it into them. So here on the 17 plus 19, I'll do this one. Plus 3, I'm going to get 17 to 20, 19 to, I got to do the inverse. So subtract 3, that's 16. And this one gets into using either a 100 straight. So if your child doesn't know 19 minus 3 in their brain, and it's 16, you got to use that 100 straight, have to, must moment. Here, 17 plus 3 more is 20. So they're going to have to recognize right here, 17 is closer to 10 or 20. That's just number sense. So this is applying numerous skills that they build on in kindergarten and first grade, now in second grade, kind of applying those skills. So you've got 20 plus 16 equal to 20 plus 10 is, and you could break this down if your child looks at this and says, oh, 20 plus 16, I don't know that. Well, 20 plus 10 plus 6, which we did last night, 20 plus 10 is 30, 30 plus 6 is 36. So I'll try another one similar to up here where it's not the inverse. I'll rotate from back and forth. So here I would do plus 1 to 40, and here I would do plus 6 to 60. I got the 40, I got the 60. 40 plus 60. Okay. Now I added 7 here. So I know that's 100, but I have to subtract 7 from it because I added 7 up here. So start on 100, let's skip back 7. You got 93. Again, either works. Either strategy works for this on the compensation of finding the closest 10 and adding and subtracting and finding the inverse, or getting them both to a 10 and then subtracting later. Either works. There's multiple ways to do this. I wanted to show you both scenarios because it might click. One of these might click better for your child. Flipping it on the back. See, I did +1, +6. Finding the 10s, I'll do the inverse here. We'll start at 24 and 18. So what I told the class this morning was find the one out of the two add-ins that's closer to a 10. Well, which one's closer to a 10? 18. 24 is 4 away from a 10. This is 2 away from a 10. So right here, I'll just add 2 and I've got 20. Great. Over here, I have to do the inverse of adding 2, which was subtracting 2, and I've got 22. So now I've got 20 plus 22. Now, if your child can't do mental math, 20 plus 22, you can break this down to 20 and 2. So if they can't immediately say, oh, 20 plus 22, I skipped 2 down on the hundreds chart. I've got 20. 20 is 40, 42. All right, here, so again, if you use this same strategy over here, 27 is closer to a 10. I'll add 3 on this side, I get 30. Over here, I'm not going to add the 3. I'm going to subtract, it's the inverse. I've got 22. Since I did these, I don't have to add the step later. 30 plus 22. Well, if your child's not understanding 30 plus 22, you can use the 100 chart, go down 2 to the right 2. Or break this apart in 20 and 2. 30 plus 20 is 50, plus 2 is 52. And then over here, I can even do it the opposite way. So here, to get both of these, just show you another way to think. Again, math's about problem solving is thinking about numbers in different ways. So I could do -3 to get this to 40, and I could do -2 to get this to 30. So I subtracted 5 here. Later I'm going to have to add 5. So I'm mixing two strategies. I would pick one. I'd pick one and introduce both of them. I'd pick one. I wouldn't mix them up, because if you're mixing this up, it's going to be very confusing to your child. So my goal is for you to try to pick which one works better for you. So I got 40 plus 30, which is 70, plus 5 is 75. So the inverse, you don't have to do the extra step down here. When you don't do the inverse, then you've got an operation here, -3 and -5, it's -5. I have to do the inverse down here as an extra step down at the bottom. Use compensation to solve, show your work. Wendy found 13 bugs and Wally found 27 bugs. How many bugs did they find in all? Well, I have 27 and I have 13. Again, which one's closer to a 10? 27 plus 3, that's 30, plus I have to do the inverse over here, -3, which just so happens to work out very neatly. 30 plus 10 is 40. Boy, that really worked out well. Using composition to write 3 different equations with the same sum as 38 plus 16. Well, this is, again, I've shown you multiple ways to do this here. Is you're going to do an inverse. So you got 38 and 16. Let's just pick one. Let's take 38 and let's do a plus 2. That's 40. Let's do a -2 over here. That's the inverse. 16 minus 2 is 14. That equals 20. 40. Whoops. 40 plus 14 is 54. Let's do another one. Let's do, I have plus 4 over here. That'll get my 16 to 20. Minus 4 over here. So I got my 16 to 20. I've got my 38 to 34. 38 minus 4 is 34. 54. And I have a lot of work over here. I'm running out of room. I would suggest finding a new spot. 38 plus 16. Get them both. So far we've done inverse on both sides. This is going to be an extra step down at the bottom. Ooh, didn't even look at C. I should probably look ahead. I got 3 numbers here. So what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to decompose. Let's take 38 plus 2 to go to 40. And then once I've got the 40, what I need to do over here is subtract 2. It's the 14. And all I'm going to do is take this 14, I'm just going to decompose it. I'll go 10 and 4. And then I've got my 3 numbers and I can get to 54. Again, a lot of different ways you can get to that 54 number here. This is combining a strategy from the previous nights to get to that. The three add-ins to make that equation, which is equal to 14 plus 8. Well, first thing I would tell your child is that solve 14 plus 8. 14 plus 8, 10, 4, 8 and 4 is 12. 12 plus 10. 22. So then I would just solve all these. I'm looking for a sum of 22. 12 plus 6 is 18. 12 plus 10 is 22. 10 plus 12 is 22. 12 plus 10 is 22. Got 3. Solve those. And again, you can just count on for this, for those numbers. That's a possibility. And you can decompose. You can use a Hunter's chart. There's 3 or 4 different strategies to do that. But what I would say is to have them solve that and then solve all the equations down here to make sure that they're accurate. Is the amount equal to 26 plus 16? Yes or no? Solve 26 plus 16. 26 plus 16. Now we can use the strategy with compensation. It doesn't say you have to. You could use that, or you could use a Hunter's chart and add them together. If I did plus 4, I did minus 4. I'd have 30 plus 14, which is 44. 30 plus 10 is 40. 40 plus 2 is 42. That is a no. Does not equal 44. 30 plus 12. Well, 30 plus 10 is 40. Plus 2 more is 42. Let me go back because I made a mistake in my math over here. That's right there. 26 plus 16 plus 4 minus 4. 16 minus 4 is 12. Helps that Mr. Lugerville actually spent some time here double checking his work as I'm running out of lunch to make this video. 30 plus 12 is 42. So let's go back here. 30 plus 10 is 40. 40 plus 2 is 42. So that's a yes. 30 plus 10 is 40. 40 plus 2 is 42. That's a yes. 25 plus 20. 20. I got two 20s. 20 plus 20 is 40. 45. 45 is not going to equal 42. It's a no. And then 20 plus 22. Well, 20 plus 20 is 40. And then I've got this ones digit left over at 2. 42. That's not a lesson in double checking your work. I don't know what it is.